Well, good evening and welcome to Diversify. We're so excited that you could join us today. I know it's been a month or so since we've been able to do this call, but here we are in 2024,
Yes,
refreshed, ready to go. We got a lot of exciting things coming for this year that we want to share with you. And we have some exciting things that I'm sure we're going to see for you guys this year in your lives, with your businesses, and all the adventures that you're like deeming to go after this year.
most certainly. It's February, like Chad was saying. I think it's actually more like two times that we did not meet, but I think it's pretty exciting. The opportunity that we have now and the conversations that we will have today with you and in the next couple of months as well. With that, we really are excited. Chad was talking about the different businesses that some of you have started. Some of them even started their own business as realtors or investments in properties.
Yes. We've seen a lot of things happen in 2023, and it's amazing that we're right here in 2024 now.
Mm.
And this is just the beginning of like the second phase. You know how we talked about, the first year we had these calls and we talked, many times like this is the planting the seeds, this is building the foundation. And that's what many of you have done. You've built foundations underneath everything that you're doing right now. So a lot of you guys have launched new businesses in 2023, which is amazing. We're so proud of you guys, and it's an honor to us to see that happen. So we're seeing you flourish, we're seeing you grow, we're seeing your finances get put more in order. There's just all kinds of things happening right now. But now that we're in 2024, it's time to take it to the next level. And
Mhm.
we want to talk tonight about what's going to sustain us. What is it when it becomes with our finances, starting new businesses? What is it that we need to do to sustain those businesses that actually causes them to grow and
Yes,
be able to keep everything that we've worked so hard to get to this point?
most certainly. And one of the things that we said was in a year from now, this is what we said about a year ago. You will not be in the same place that you are in today. And 100%, we are sure that none of you right now are in the same position as you were a year ago. Between starting the different businesses, creating that foundation that we said, we were able to hear many of you just starting with creating your financial planning or even like a plan for your family, like writing the goals, writing those objectives. What was the vision of our family? And we are excited to be able to share that many of you were able to write those down. We've been in conversation with so many of you. And the fact that now even your children know what is the vision of our family, knowing that some of you have on your walls the vision written down and that you know where you want to go, where would you like to be maybe in 5 years from now. Some of you have such a big vision that it might be your children that will be able to execute it in like totally. So it's amazing. And if you haven't yet wrote, like you haven't written down the vision, this is your time. Don't wait until next month. Do it now. Do it within this next upcoming week. Just take some time, write down those words that you feel passionate about. And many people would say, well, Diana and Shad, is it for profit? Is it a nonprofit? Can I do both? So there were so many questions about, well, what I see is something that will allow us to earn income, but then at the same time, I want to be able to give to others.
Mhm.
And that's great because that is why we're wanting to diversify. That is what we're believing in doing everything that we can to multiply the wealth that we have is because at the end we do have a generous heart. we do want to be able to help other people that don't have the same resources. Maybe they haven't been able to sit on a table like our table to talk about what can I do differently. So many of you wrote it down. If many of you even were able to post it on their refrigerator so their
Yeah.
children can see it constantly. So that was a big step, and we know that, we acknowledge this. Another big step was that for many of you, you took time to write a financial plan that was connected to those goals and objectives and your vision. You were able to say, hey, I think we need to start saving. We want a home, we want a vehicle, we want to be able to start a business, and we believe that that business we might be able to start it with $1,000, right? And some of you didn't even write down the budget. You just threw yourself and you started going at it. You started, just um using the social media, because we had Grace, we had Mary Lucy share about strategies. So you open up your social media account, you open up your Instagram, your Facebook account, and you started using those tools that are for free to market the business that you want to create.
Yeah, so one thing we want you to remember, so if you didn't have the opportunity
Mm.
this whole entire last year, because life got in the way, there's things that come up, there's things that just happen. We don't want you to feel discouraged if you hadn't had the chance to actually write out your vision,
Yes.
because today will be the easiest day it'll ever be, because every day that goes on past today, it gets harder.
Yes.
So let's not think about the past. All right, if you didn't do it, that's fine. We have a whole new year to do. There's bigger opportunities. So the same dreams, the same visions, the same goals that you had,
Yes.
it's today's the day. You don't have to wait. So there's no shame in anybody that didn't get to this, because sometimes this can be really intimidating.
Yes.
And even for us, we have a lot of plans, a lot of goals. I personally have a lot of things that I want to accomplish. And even in 2023, I just didn't get to. And I told myself in 2023 I was going to do these things, and I didn't, because time and things get in the way. And we understand that. But that's a great thing about us having this group together, that we could all lean on each other. We could pull with each other's knowledge and wisdom and strength so that we can do that. So if you hadn't taken the time to build your vision, to write your goals down, to build a financial plan for your personal finances and even your business. Well, let's get started with that. Let's don't wait
Yes.
any longer, because before you know it, it's going to be another year and we'll be in 2025, just like we started off talking in early 2023. The year goes by fast. So we don't want you to miss one more minute of anything that you've dreamed of. So let's get started with that. And one of the ways that you do get started with that is the processes that you follow.
Yeah.
There's a process that we've learned to be successful when it comes to, we could just start off with your personal finances. There's a process you follow that makes you successful. It's not that you have just a budget, but you have to follow the process of that budget, which
Mm.
means recording your expenses, recording your income, tracking your expenses,
Yes.
you know, tracking all your income, your giving, your spending. There's a process and a budget. And if you don't follow that, if on Monday you get up and you're like, okay, I'm going to write down everything I spent all throughout the weekend. But come Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday,
Mm.
you don't look at your budget. You just go out, spend money and spend money. You're not following the process of the budget. And therefore, you won't be successful. It's impossible without following the process. And that's a budget. And the same goes with when it comes to investing, you have to follow a process.
Yes.
When it comes to buying properties, you have to follow a process, or you could get really hurt financially if you don't follow the process.
We like to, as humans, I think that we like to jump the hoops.
Hmm.
And we are like a microwave generation. We like everything quick. We like quick turnarounds. We like everything quick, put the food in the microwave, you get it out. Now we use the Instapot. we we use the air fryer, right? Because it's actually quicker than putting something in the oven. So we love quick things, but when we are talking about the vision of the family and what you understand is your calling as a person and the wealth that speaks about that, it's not going to be quick. It's not going to be microwave. Chad was telling about the processes, and processes are like going to a gym. And when you go to the gym, we kind of like tend to lose weight quickly, or we want to see the changes pretty quick. If we're using a cream or lotion for our face, we want to see the results quickly. But the reality is that it's going to take time before we see the results. And Chad mentioned, it doesn't matter if you didn't start before, start today.
Mhm.
We understand that this could be feeling almost like a threat, could be fearful because it's something that you have not done yet. But I remember we had this conversation before with you where how can we lead or manage the funds that we have in a business if we haven't done it with our personal
Mhm.
budget? For us to be able to manage $1 million, we need to start with at least $1,000. And then as you build that muscle, like we were talking, going to the gym, and you get better at it, right? We are okay with, as a couple, if we're a couple, right? To sit down and look at it together. It's really not about just Chad is gonna do it or just Diana.
Mhm.
No, the reality is that, for example, for us, I love doing the budget. Then I share with Chad, and he says, "Yeah, that looks good." But then I am not good at paying. Okay. I forget even when I set up alarms, I don't like it. It's part of my profession. I think that because I do it as a profession, I kind of don't want to do that in our home. But Chad, he's really on it, right? He he's really good at paying the bills. So it's also checking with your partner. Hey, am I good on this or are you good? Or if you're single, listen, that's okay. Find someone. Find, for example, like a couple like us that we can partner with you,
Mhm.
and then we can help you have those monthly conversations of where are you at with the finances. And maybe one of your goals is to start a business. Maybe one of your goals was to actually, create a YouTube video or a YouTube channel. That's okay. Maybe it's right now you're not paying, but at least you have a goal to start saving some money.
Yes.
So when the time comes in, maybe 6 months down the road, then you've already saved the money for that opportunity. What we don't want is to wait. We want to start activating our faith, right? We want to start thinking about the future and saying, well, if that's what I wanted to start accumulating some resources. And maybe you're thinking, well, I'm barely making it. Well, that's okay, because if you follow the processes,
Yeah.
right, that we're talking about with what you currently have, you'll see that as you manage your finances, you will start being able to save. You're going to be able to put some money aside for the business that you want, for the nonprofit organization that you're wanting to do.
So one thing when it comes to following the process, and this is something that we want everybody to understand, is that when you're following a process, sometimes the process is uncomfortable.
Mhm.
Sometimes when you're following a process, it's things that you don't want to do.
Yes.
It's not the time frame that you want it to be,
Mhm.
but that's part of the process. So when we think about that, let's just bring it back to what that could like look like in reality. Let's like
Okay.
a real life example.
Yes.
So, okay, I want to start a business. I've got an idea. I want to start selling these widgets. That's my
Okay.
goal in life. I want to start a company and I'm going to sell widgets. Well, in order to do that, we really have to think about what goes into selling widgets.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna have to buy inventory. I'm gonna have to figure out how I'm gonna have to sell the widgets. I'm gonna have to think about a website. Then I'm gonna have to pay somebody to build the website for me. So what it is, if you see, you might have the greatest idea in the world, and it could change the world. But there's a process to get your idea from in your mind out into the world. And the process sometimes will take time.
Yeah.
I know we want to speed up the process a lot
Yeah.
for all of us. If we get an idea like, hey, I can make $1 million doing this, we want to just drop what we're doing currently and just go out and do it.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes that's not the wisest thing for us to do. Sometimes we have to think about, okay, it's going to cost me, let's just say $20,000 to start my widget company.
Okay.
Well, I have to make the $20,000 or raise the $20,000 to start that widget company, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna have to go through a process. What does that mean? What if I hate my job right now and I can't stand it? We've talked to so many people that they really don't like their job. They don't like their employer. They
Yeah.
don't like the work conditions. I
Mhm.
mean, it's really hard for them to get up to do it. But if we could marry our desire to build our business with our current living conditions, wherever it is, whatever job we're in, if we think about every time I go to work, my employer is paying me right now so I can start my business.
Mhm.
It's like shifting the way we're thinking about it. Yes, we don't like it, but we have to earn income
For now.
for now. So if we start thinking about my employer is going to pay to fund my new business.
Yeah.
I just have to go to work and do what he says for a while. But that's what it is, and it's temporary.
Yeah.
But that's the part of the process and part of the pain that we have to go through. And it's the uncomfortable part because we
Mhm.
all want to be there. We all want to get to that point where it's like,
Mhm.
all right, I'm living off my new business. I'm making money. I've got freedom, or I think I have freedom
Yeah.
because with the new business comes a lot of responsibility. A lot of things pop up that we
Yes.
never had to deal with before because
Yes.
our employers dealt with those things before, or we turned
Mhm.
it over to HR before, or
Mhm.
payroll department took care of that before, or insurance, company insurance took care of it.
Mhm.
So it adds a whole nother set of challenges to us.
Mhm.
But if we begin with a process of slowly following it, when those challenges come up, it's just adding another process on top of how do we deal with a claim? How do
Mhm.
we deal with sales? How do we deal with hiring and firing people?
Yeah. I love what you're talking about, the process. So basically, that process is going to answer a couple of questions. When are we going to do it? Who's going to do it? Do I need to recruit someone? Do I have to reach out to someone that is an expert in an area, maybe just as a consultant? Do I need to reach out to a lender or a bank
Mm.
because we need to open a different account? Those are real questions that we have. Hey, Diana and Chad, should we open a separate account for the business? Yes, you should, right? We should not have the same bank account for our personal finances and for the business. They should be separate so you can track the income and the expenses separately. So it's easier to do, right? So those are like, for example, simple things, right? Where are we doing this? Is it online? Is it on one-on-one in person? Are we using a system or a website, social media? Where are we going to do it? How are we going to do it? Is that process, right? Um, we wanna answer those questions and then be able to build those processes that will get us to where we want to be able to go. So sometimes when we jump those or one of those, that's when we started getting actually anxious because we're not seeing the result that we were thinking we were going to have, but it's actually because we jump some of the things, right? Or processes that we needed to do. And the bank is one. Sometimes we start selling items and we don't have a DBA, or we don't have an idea if we want to keep it separate, completely separate. We don't know who's going to help us with the accounting component. We might not know, different things, taxes about it. So we've seen, I mean, within the last couple of months, we've had conversations
Yeah.
because we start doing the business, but we forget about the taxes, and we're in tax season, right?
Yeah.
So then comes around March, which is about to start in this Friday, and April, and we feel anxious because we're like, well, I didn't save money to pay taxes. I didn't keep track of our
Right.
expenses. So we have all of this income and we have no expenses related to the income. So those are things that if we would take the time to do it,
Mhm.
we would not be anxious because we know exactly what we need to do, right? Or at least we know that we have a partner that we can reach out. We can say, hey, we're ready for the taxes. We hope we have everything in order for the taxes to be done.
Yeah, so talking about that, like, let's begin this simple from the beginning. So let's just talk about the accounting part of it.
Yeah.
How are we going to track everything? And this is a big thing for most people that we deal with.
Yeah.
And she's talking about taxes because we do taxes for people, and we see this a lot. A lot of people don't understand what they need to track, how they need to track it. Um, and a lot of people, because when we start off a business, we have most of us little money.
Yeah.
So we're afraid to ask anybody to do anything for us. For one, we're entrepreneurs because we think we could do everything ourselves. So, and we feel that we could get on YouTube or we could read or get on the web and we could figure it out ourselves.
Yes.
But sometimes it is a lot better to talk to somebody, a professional, somebody that knows something about whatever your legal things, taxes, whatever, accountant. Get help from somebody that knows how to set stuff up, because if you set it up right from the very beginning,
Yes.
it makes it way easier. Because what happens if you set it up wrong from the beginning, you're gonna have to redo everything.
I just had a conversation today with a client,
Mhm.
and it's not a person, this is a large organization, and they didn't create the foundational systems. And so this could happen to anyone, but don't be afraid. You see, we've been talking about mindsets, and we're excited to be announcing a new financial curriculum that we have um, to share with everyone. But one of the main things is our mindset. We know that we were not taught this at school, right?
Mhm.
So maybe our parents didn't teach us. So here we're excited. We know we had the vision, we had the plan, we had the good conversations. So then the next step, it's okay for us to change our mindset and reach out,
Yeah.
people. Reach out. Maybe it's like, hey, Diane and Chad, would you be able to recommend someone that could help us? Sometimes it's an answer that might take us 5 minutes.
Yeah, and here's a good example for us. And okay, so Deanna and I both have set up multiple LLCs.
Yeah.
We've filed them, we registered, and we did them ourselves. So we know how to do it pretty easily.
Mhm.
But this year, because we wanted to take a couple properties and put them in an LLC, we actually paid an attorney probably way more than what I wanted to pay him to set up an LLC that I know we could have done for like $80. But he's a professional. They know the laws around what we wanted to do and how we wanted to do it. So it kind of pained us a little bit to do that. We're like, why are we paying him to do this? But we know that we're not experts in putting properties in LLCs, deeds and all. It's more than what we've never done it before.
Yes.
Could we figure it out? Probably, but I didn't want to take a risk of
No,
registering something wrong and then it really hurts us.
it's not worth it.
It's not worth it.
The pain and the anxiety that then the next morning we might be like, we did this right. How about, because we never know, right? With properties, for example, something
Yeah.
could happen with the property. So if we sometimes create our own anxiety, sometimes we are the ones creating it, because the idea is great, right? It's just the fact that we need to be okay with reaching out to someone. And if one person doesn't have the answer, then reach out to another person until you have the information to follow through, right? Because again, right now, tax season, many of you might not have had, might be experiencing, well, maybe some of you might be experiencing anxiety about, do we owe money? We didn't, but it's because either you didn't do it from the beginning, or maybe you did do it, but at some point you stopped reaching out. And now, because of lack of knowledge, you're feeling that anxiety. Listen, you're not the only one, right? That's why we're here. We want to be able to support you. We want to be able to answer maybe those questions that you have, but don't stop doing what you're doing either. It's about reaching out and being okay with allowing our mindset to be shifted, right? Like
Yeah.
to shift our mindset.
Yeah, don't get stuck, because
No.
that's what happens to a lot of us. As entrepreneurs, we get stuck.
Yeah.
We'll get to a certain
I get
point,
upset
we
too.
get upset, we get to a certain point where we think we've got it figured out, and we don't know the next step.
Yeah.
And we're like, who do I call? And we kind of in the back of our head know who we need to call, but our mind's like, well, I don't want to do that because they're going to charge me $200 to do this.
Yeah, that too.
So we kind of sit there and wait. Well, all right, let me find something that I'll figure something out.
Or
But
maybe we might be thinking, well, I'm gonna look dumb.
yeah, I'm gonna
I'm
look.
gonna be stupid. Or I'm gonna
Yeah,
look like
exact pride.
they told me this already and I didn't do it. Yeah, pride.
Or exactly like what Deanna said, and this has happened with us
Hmm.
when somebody tells you like, hey, you should really contact this person and you should do it this way and this way, and then in the back of your head like, yeah, but I think I got a better way, and I'm gonna just try it this way. If it doesn't work out, I'll call them. But what happens is a lot of times it doesn't work out, and
Yeah.
then you're too embarrassed to go back to them and say, you know what, I didn't take your advice. I thought I could do it for cheaper, because that's really what it's about. It's not because we think we're smarter. It's like we want to do it because it's cheaper to do it our way.
Yeah.
And this has been on us.
Cut corners.
I'm like the first one to call myself out for doing this. And then you're embarrassed to go back to that person and say, look, I really messed up. Can you help me?
Yeah, we didn't take notes. Hey, I'm sorry. I don't even remember. I know you mentioned this, but
Yeah.
I don't remember. Listen, we're not the first ones. It's okay. I think actually it's great when we acknowledge that we didn't do something, and then we come back and we're like, okay, I need to start all over again, or I am stuck on this area. I know you told me how to do it. I want to listen. I want to do it again, right? I think that's the good thing about recording the conversations.
Yeah. And it's good to, and it's okay
Yeah,
to adjust what you're doing.
that's
If
good.
you have a great business that you idea and it just doesn't work out, and this has happened with us.
Oh,
I don't
yeah.
know how many times I've adjusted things I thought where I was going to invest, the business I was going to start. I've adjusted many times.
Yeah,
But if what you're doing doesn't work out, that's okay. You learn something from that,
yeah,
and take what you learned into the next thing. Adjust it to what's happening now, because conditions in the economy change.
yes,
People's lifestyles change.
yes,
I mean,
priorities.
priorities change. COVID changed all kinds of things. If
Yes.
people before COVID thought that, malls are going to be around for all this stuff, and
Yeah,
everything changed. And it wasn't because entrepreneurs had a bad idea. It's just society changed. And so we have to be okay with adjusting our strategy with what's going on today.
and a no now doesn't mean a no tomorrow.
Mhm.
So maybe right now the full idea, the full vision, it's not something that we can do, right? And I think that happens to us a lot. I think it's phenomenal. Be okay with dreaming the impossible.
Mhm.
It doesn't mean that because you're not doing it all right now, that you're not gonna do it at all. It might be, mean that in a year from now, maybe in 10, 20 years from now, you'll be able to execute all of the vision. The important thing is to move, to not get stuck, to ask the questions, to call people, to research, right? To
Yeah.
reach out. Like, we've heard so many testimonies. Like, we're just so excited because the people that have heard the processes, have heard what we've been sharing, have begun businesses, nonprofit organizations within the last year.
Yes.
Some started like investment properties, like literally started purchasing or renting their own house. Some are even thinking about renting their personal property to either purchase another property, or maybe even rent another property while they find their perfect property. So that's like amazing.
Mhm.
Some of you got increases on your W-2
Yeah.
jobs because you like your W-2 job. It's just about maybe right now saving and reallocating some of those resources for your businesses, right?
Mhm.
So that then you have different funding streams. It's amazing. Some of you already started writing books, writing curriculums. Some of you, like I mentioned before, started your real estate businesses. Some of you had increases of 10, 15% on your W-2 job. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's
In
incredible.
1 year,
In 1 year,
maybe
it's
more than 10 businesses.
yeah, I mean, like the Bible says, steady plotting brings prosperity.
Yeah.
And it's a principle. That's it. Like everything that we're sharing are things that we've done. These are things that we've
Yes.
experienced, that we've learned, and they work.
Yes.
We're just following principles that are in the Bible. We're not doing anything super crazy or wild or outside the box thinking.
Nope.
We're following like simple principles, but we're doing it. The steady plotting brings prosperity. This doesn't happen overnight for us.
Nope.
It hasn't. It's been a lot of long weekends, long evenings, conversations, hard conversations.
Yeah, not all day.
Many arguments about things. There's been a lot, but we just keep going. When things get hard, we just keep going.
Yeah.
We might have disagreements and even argue about stuff,
Yeah.
but we have a common goal together that we know what we're doing works.
Yes.
We know it does, even though when it seems at the time right now, you're like, I don't know what I'm doing is really working. Because there's been times that we've done stuff and I'm like, why are we even doing this? We don't make any money, taking all of our time. I could be doing so many other things productive, but that steady plotting and that just going at it every day slowly, it builds up. I promise you, it's like a snowball. It starts really small and it just grows and grows. And one day, even us, the other day we sat and talked and we're like, look at in 6 years what we've been able to accomplish because we've come in unity together.
Yes.
We've built, we made a plan
Yes.
and we've followed the plan. Yes, we've adjusted it many times, to as your business grows, your investment strategy grows, your family grows.
Maybe sometimes, for example, I remember we had a tactic, right? And if you remember, I think it was our second Diversify call. We talked about having a vision, a mission, objectives, strategies, and tactics.
Mhm.
So we had a tactic and it did not work. It didn't. Our tactic was, for example, we're gonna do a call, and it didn't, like, what we created did not work. But that doesn't mean that the vision is wrong, that the strategies are wrong. It's just that the way to get there, what we thought was gonna work, it didn't give us the return,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
So then that's the moment for what we did, is that we sat down and we analyzed, is this working? Well, at least not right now. Again, it doesn't mean that that strategy is not gonna work, because right now we see other people that are using the same strategy or tactic and it's working. It might just be that for us, that's not gonna be the tactic right now. So then we shift to plan B. Okay, well, let's try this other tactic.
Mhm.
And then this might work. And if it doesn't, then we go and we change it up again, because the vision is clear and we know, because of what we've seen, for example, with all of you, that it works. But we can allow frustration to come in. We can
Yeah.
allow anxiety or depression to come in. We need to keep moving.
Yes, we have to, because it's difficult sometimes when you don't see results.
Yes.
Just like if you're going to the gym, like Deanna says, when you first start going to the gym, you start you lose that first 5 pounds. You're like,
Yeah.
man, this is awesome.
Except
This is really
this muscle right here.
that's push-ups.
That muscle takes like a year to work it, you know?
But it's like, but that's exactly what it is. You see the results fast. You're like, all right, I'm all in. And then about 2 or 3 weeks into training, you kind of like plateau and there's no results.
Yeah,
So then you have to work, what happens then? You have to work out harder.
yeah,
You diet more.
yeah.
And those are not fun.
Nope.
And that's what happens the same way when it comes to starting any kind of endeavor, when it comes to starting your business, your personal finances. At first, it feels good. It's like the honeymoon phase. You're like, wow, I could really do this. And if we save all this money, we're going to Disney this fall. These are all the things, and you're so excited at the beginning of everything.
Yeah,
But you get a few months into it and you're like, what am I doing? This doesn't work. I think I made a mistake.
yeah.
This is too hard. I should just go get a job. I should just go do all these things. All these, our mind starts messing with us. But it's a principle and it's a process. You have to stick to the process, even though it's painful, and it will work.
Yes,
And be original. I mean, this is your process.
I like it.
Don't try to mimic somebody else's.
Nope.
Like whatever doing business wise, personal wise, make it your own. So if you try to do it as somebody else does, and I look at like people all the time, and I'm in Deanna, so I'll listen to podcasts. I'm like, man, these people are doing this and they're doing that, and it's like I have to control myself because I'm like, oh, it's working for them. It might not work for me because my personality is different than their personality.
Mm-hmm.
Your
And even the community, right?
communities,
The state, the people around us might be different.
we all have different things that we like doing.
Yeah.
So if it's a job or a business that requires like heavy sales and stuff, well, for some person, they might just enjoy it.
I don't like selling.
Yeah, for her, it
Doesn't
would
ask
it
me
would
to sell.
she wouldn't it wouldn't be sustainable.
Nope.
So that's why I'm saying we have to be original. The things that we do, it has to be something that we're really passionate about, or else you will drop off.
Yeah.
That's just the reality. If you're not passionate about what you're doing, you're gonna drop it.
Now we do know that there's certain processes that we can all use,
Mhm.
like creating a process, like the who, the where. If we're in real estate, right? Listen, the reality is that we are following the process of people that went before us. Do we have to reinvent the wheel? No, we're not gonna do that. We're gonna learn. We're gonna do the same thing that other people have done. If they are not in my same state, in my same community, for example, with real estate, I am going to use the processes. I'm going to give an example. Analysis. If they are using a way of analyzing data,
Mhm.
and they show me how to analyze it and where to go, then I can use that same process. It might not be the same state, the same county, but I can use the same process. I can analyze the data. I can try to find similar data in my county, in my town. I might even be able to use the same platform. I can give you an example. I can use Airbnb if I'm here in Puerto Rico, in Hawaii, in England. We actually went to England, Wales, I think it
Wells,
was,
yeah.
and we stayed at an Airbnb in Wales. Wasn't that exciting? Of course. Is Airbnb a platform? Is it a tool? Yes. Is it working in different countries? Yes. But is it gonna be exactly the same financial data here as it Wales? No, because there's different demographics that are impacting that data. So that was just like an example of
Yeah.
how we can imitate what others are doing. And I think I love that. We love sharing contracts, but we always say, well, if you're from this area, right? If you're from New York, don't use our contract because
It might not be legal there.
it's not legal,
Yeah.
actually. It's not legal. It will cause you problems.
Yeah, so it's totally like, imitating the process, totally fine. If the process is proven and it works, use it.
Yes,
But whatever your endeavor to do, be original and do things that you're passionate about
yes,
so you could sustain yourself.
yes.
Don't pick a business just because you see somebody making a lot of money and thinking, man, if they're making that much money doing that, I can make that much doing. Let's just take like a car wash. You see somebody, you see guys say car washes because they're popping up.
They're
They're popping up
everywhere.
everywhere and they make a
Oh
lot.
my
They make a lot of money. That's why they're popping up everywhere. But if you don't want to run a car wash and you don't want to be dealing with employees, calling off, and the next thing you know, you're going in at 5 in the morning, turning things on because your main people didn't show up. Don't get a car wash because it makes a bunch of money because you're going to be miserable. You might as well just
Yeah.
stay with your employer right now and be miserable there and not have to worry about the guy showing up. At least you could call off when it's your boss. You can't call off when it's yours. So
Yes.
pick the things that you're passionate about, not just because it's the money. The money will always follow.
Follow.
The money will always follow your passion.
Yeah. That's why we go back to that vision, right? When you had that vision, we know that we're not doing it for the money. We're doing it because our heart is in there. And we were having the conversation today, like, we love having these conversations with you.
Mhm.
We love empowering you. We love to be able to show you what we've done on the areas that we've worked before, from taxes to starting a business to doing the LLC. Maybe it's, doing the accounting. It's really not about us making the money, it's about sharing the knowledge. So that's why we understand that we're successful because we love what we're doing.
Mhm.
Right? So do something that you love doing. I remember I had a colleague at my work, and she loved baking, and she was such a good baker. Am I a baker? No. Can I try to bake? Of course I can, right? But she was passionate about baking. I mean, she did this tres leches, or she would, bake cakes and merengue. I mean, she was amazing. But you know what she did? She started baking. And then when she needed the extra money, she would sell it to us. Guess what? Almost everyone at our company will buy from her. Birthday cakes. Hey, can we order a cake? Can you make us a cake? She will make lasagna and she will freeze it on containers and sell it. I was single, so listen, I love putting those on my freezer, and then I would just take them out, put it on my microwave and eat it. you know? And then I also love the fact that I was able to contribute to her,
Mhm.
that I knew that I was being part of her business, right? And she was able to earn income. So it's like, where is your heart? What are the things that you love doing, right?
Yeah, that's it. What is it that you love to do?
Mhm.
And if you don't really like to do it, and even if you're starting your business or anything, it's okay to just say, you know what, this really isn't what I thought it was going to be.
Mhm.
It's not what I'm really liking doing.
Yeah.
It's okay. It's just really find the things and don't. And it's hard to say don't be concerned about the money right now because that's usually what we're concerned about.
Yeah.
The reason we're doing it. But it does take time to be successful. Very few people start off with instant success.
And sometimes the strategy might work now
Mhm.
and not tomorrow.
Yeah.
And being flexible, right? So, for example, at some point, I was doing a W-2 job working from home, and that was great. And I did it for 2 years. And I celebrate, and it was a blessing to us when I was doing it. But when that didn't go through, when I wasn't able to continue with the position because COVID happened and they let go of a whole bunch of us, it was then okay. I know all of this. I was able to learn. I was able to build relationships. On those 2 years, I met amazing people that lived on almost every state of the United States of America. And guess what? Nowadays, 4 years later, 4 years later, or 3.5 years later, I am doing business with them, with my colleagues from that W-2 job. And we're not working at that company. And all of us, well, maybe not all, but a few of us have our own personal businesses.
Mhm.
And we get to partner and we get to give each other like job opportunities. I When I got that W-2 job, I was not thinking that 4 years later I was gonna be having my our own company and that we were gonna be able to partner with them.
Yeah, it's amazing. So everything can be a blessing if we look at it that way. Even a W-2. I know we talk a lot about like, okay, let's get away from the W-2, but sometimes the W-2 can be a blessing and actually it increases your capacity to do more things sometimes.
Mhm.
Like when it comes to investing, it increases your ability to like multiply returns
Yeah.
because you have a couple of things to
Do you
do.
think that's why you still with a W-2
Yeah, I
job?
mean, it's for us personally, if we want to buy more properties, it's way easier to buy a property with the W-2 job.
And then at the same time, it's like, okay, we are thinking about at some point,
Yeah.
like our friend Mark, you all
It's like,
remember Mark, right?
yep,
He joined us and he talked about his book about burning the boat,
burning the boat.
you know, throwing yourself out there. And that happened to me. I had two things. Either I could go and get another W-2 job, or we could actually start building the business. And that's what we decided doing. Hey, Diana, instead of you going to a W-2 job, you're going to start building the business. And it was faith. Like one day, actually, it's February. So 3 years ago, it was like we finished our plan, we wrote it down,
Mhm.
and then we looked at each other and Chad said, well, now what? And then literally like this, we were here sitting and it's like, okay, now what? I'm like, well, now I have to wait. I have to believe that either someone's gonna call me or something is gonna happen, okay? Because I'm not going back to a W-2 job and I don't know where to go to start executing the plan. We didn't have a partner. Listen, less than a week, I feel like it was the following day, I got a text message from one of my colleagues, and he's like, this is Mark Davis, by the way. And he's like, hey, would you like to do a 3-hour training? He had no idea that in our plan we had trainings.
Yeah.
We had trainings. He's like, this is for a nonprofit organization. And I'm like, I think we were even together when I was getting the text message. And I was like, chat with a nonprofit organization. That's what we
Yeah.
wrote in our plan. We want to partner with nonprofit organizations. Yes, with for profit too, because we want to be able to build individuals to start their businesses. And here, within maybe a day, I'm getting an offer to start with a 3-hour training.
Amazing. Just amazing. But we built the plan, you
Yeah.
know,
Yes.
we wrote it down. We
Yes.
literally wrote it down in the big old
Papers.
papers that you go to school
We
and
had them
see them
right
on the
here.
wall. Yeah. The big Post-it papers, the size of the wall.
Yeah.
So we wrote it all down and we started executing it. Like she said, we started off and we didn't know what to do. Like we're like, all right, where's it coming from? Where we're gonna get the income? Who's gonna be our clients? We had no clue. But we just knew like this is a thing. This will work. And it took a while. It didn't happen like over like we were saying. Yeah, she did get a text, but it wasn't like instant, like, all right, you have a bunch of customers coming in.
Yeah.
It took a while to build up. And that's what exactly it will happen with you also. At first it'll be slow, and then there might be times where it feels like it's not going anywhere. And then is when the snowball comes and it's like, wow, this is like really growing.
Yeah. So keep going at it, right?
Yeah, don't give up. Don't get
In the
discouraged.
morning, in the afternoon, in the evening.
Just keep plugging away, keep building, keep plotting.
There's work.
There is work. It's hard. It's not being an entrepreneur is not easy. There's a lot of hard choices you have to make. There's a lot of things that you're gonna have to do.
Yeah.
Even for us, I mean, would I like to not have to work, a full-time job plus start two businesses on the side in real estate? It'd
Yeah.
be easier to just be like, all right, I'm just gonna concentrate on my business and not do anything else. But I know for what we're doing,
Yeah.
it was necessary for me to stay as long as possible because we needed the extra cash to be able to do the things that we planned on doing.
And
And
the
that
W-2 for the real
and for the
estate,
real
bank,
for the
right?
banks and stuff, it was just required. That's what we needed to get started. Banks will they're not easy to loan you money if you don't have a job.
Actually, now they even change, at least here in United States, right? When we started real estate, I had to have 2 years of my consulting business reflected on the tax return. And nowadays, with 1 year, they're considering that income.
Yeah, they just changed that.
They just
Like
changed
this
that.
year, the Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac
Yes.
standards went down to like 1 year from 2 years, which is great. It
And
is,
even the number of houses, I think it used to be 4, now it's 5, or 5 and now it's 6, something like that. But they increased it by one property. So those are the changes that we're
yeah.
talking about, right?
Yeah, so it's like just hang in there. Just do the hard work. Don't get frustrated. Don't jump off the cliff too fast. Make sure you have your parachute fully fastened on before you jump off. You know, let's plan. Have a process in place.
Because definitely you are not gonna be in a year from now where you are at,
No.
because none of you are where you were at a year ago. And thank you for sharing your successes, your celebrations, and your frustrations too. Thank you for allowing us to partner with you, because this is what we love doing. It's actually to partner with you and seeing you grow and seeing your family and therefore your community grow as well. So thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, like Deanna said, it's an honor for us. We really, really honor you guys. We're so humbled that you share with us your successes, your questions. For us to be able to be a part of your family and be able to share in the success and your growing, we're so honored by that, and it's exciting for us.
It's super.
It's so exciting. we talk all the time about all the people call us and tell us things are happening. We're just
It builds
yeah,
us up too, like
it makes us want to like do more.
yeah,
And that's why we're here. That's why we're doing this, because all right, we're like, how else can we help people to get to where they want to go? Because it energizes us and it makes us like, let's start another business. And I'm like, no, let's don't start another business.
No.
We got enough going on.
we can write it down.
We're right down. One day we'll do it, but yes, we love you guys, and we're so thankful for every single
Your
one of you,
time.
your time, your trust that you put in us.
Mhm.
We appreciate it from the bottom of our hearts.
Thank you so much. And then we'll see you in March.
Bye.
Bye bye.